hide your kids, lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Oh, yeah. Tim Cook says employees who leak memos do not belong at Apple. We know that because of a leaked employee memo. Hi, kids. You're listening to the Chad and Cheese Podcast. This is your co-host, Joel. Bring on the Bears, Cheeseman.
And this is Chad Oleo. Shit, I don't know how to say it. Sowash.
Hola. On this week's show, Adzuna is going public, LinkedIn is going freelance, and Clovers is going, well, okay, we're not really sure where they're going, but we have an entire show to figure it out. Let's do this.
You already know that Sovereign makes the world's best resume CV parser. But did you know that Sovereign also makes the world's best AI matching engine? Only Sovereign's AI matching engine goes beyond the buzzwords. With Sovereign, you control how the engine thinks. With every match, the Sovereign engine tells you what matched and exactly how each matching document was scored. And if you don't agree with the way it scored the matches, you can simply move some sliders to tell it to score the matches your way. No other engine on Earth gives you that combination of insight and control. With Sovereign, matching isn't some frustrating black box, trust us, it's magic, one-shot deal like all the others. No. With Sovereign, matching is completely understandable, completely controllable, and actually, kind of fun. Sovereign. Software so human, you'll want to take it to dinner.
So I'm sorry to pull you away from sunbathing, Chad, but okay. we got this show to do.
Not a problem. Pool's only a floor away. I can jump back up there, being back in that position in no time.
Has your liver quit yet? Has your liver resigned?
Not yet, but I only have a week, so I'm working on it. And also this later this weekend, going to meet with Louise Grant. If you remember from the back in the JobGate days, she's coming down to Portugal for the weekend, and we're actually going to meet up for dinner. So going to be good to see her.
Really?
Yeah.
Now she left JobGate last year, right?
Yep, she did.
And what's she up to, or is that part of the meeting? She's apparently bouncing around the world. We'll find out, though. We'll find out. Okay. Sounds like a new Chad and Cheese joint might be in the works.
Could be.
A shout out from me, if we're getting to those, if we're done with the small talk. Sure. We got a long show to get through. Cindy Saunier.
Oh.
She's got a new gig. She's now SVP at Talent Care. What the hell is Talent Care? I'll go ahead and explain it as sort of an employment branding, HR tech, ATS hybrid.
Wow.
Oh, I miss Cindy.
I miss Cindy too. She's awesome. Big shout out to, she deserves more than a shout out, but to Julie Sowash. It is our 5th anniversary. We've been together for 10 years. I don't know how she puts up with me. Thank you, honey. I love you and happy anniversary.
Wow, she's a bigger woman than every other woman in the world. In light of that, my next shout out goes to one of my favorite eateries.
Oh my God, I love Chipotle. Chipotle is my life.
We talked about Taco Bell last week, introducing its subscription model for a free taco or for a taco every day. Mm-hmm. Chipotle says, hold my beer. They're introducing brisket to the menu, and no one loves a good brisket like I do. Chipotle, Big shout outs to you. I'll be there immediately after this podcast.
No shit. Well, rebounding off of that one, this big shout out to Liz Wessel over at Way Up. She wants us to keep the food subscription and the food news coming. She went right out to Taco Bell to get her subscription right after the announcement. So Liz, she's our kind of people. So she'll probably be going to Chipotle as well.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep the fast food shout outs coming. Shout out to Shake Shack, one of my favorite burger joints.
Oh, Jesus.
They're killing their 4-day work week. They say it's on pause because of COVID, but I'm betting it's never coming back until the robots start flipping the burgers. Shake Shack, this one's for you. And your 4-day work week going bye-bye.
True. So this one goes out to somebody who works at my favorite pet website. It's not pets.com. She's the AD over at Chewy. Her name is Nicole Vinci Adamson, and she says that she learns something new every show. And Nicole, you're making me misty over here. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, she also called us a maniacal recruitment podcast, which I feel like we missed our naming opportunity for that one. Michael Yinger also was very complimentary.
Oh yeah,
on the socials this week. So Michael was in a firing squad episode. And if you haven't listened to that, check it out. Resume Civ, one of my least favorite names in the world.
Yeah, sounds like you need a shot after that.
Anyway, Michael said, quote, "Guys, just so you know, I have gotten more connections, more congrats, more recognition, and even a lead from your show than all the others I've been on combined. Yes, our podcast can beat up your podcast." Thanks, Michael.
And another Michael Odell down in Nashville. He's representing talent.com. Last week, we put out two new acronyms. We've got, you put out the RAD and I put out the CTP, the Core Talent Platform Approach. And he loves that rather than the old ATS bullshit 90s narrative that we've been pushing. So thanks, Michael. We're gonna continue to do what we do and call it out where we need to.
Odell is so radical.
So rad.
Hey guys, we got free shit to give away. If you haven't signed up, go to chadcheese.com. We got t-shirts from Emissary, we got beer from Adzuna, and we got whiskey from Sovereign. If you haven't done that, please do so. And also, feel free to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. We love getting feedback, and we need more of it, I think.
Yeah, we always need good feedback. Shout out to Progress Kids. The U.S. Soccer Federation announced Tuesday that it's offering the respective players' unions for the men's and women's national team the same contract proposal. The decision reflects an effort to align the two senior national teams under a single collective bargaining agreement structure. And here's the big part, pay structure. Women and men getting paid the same, even though in this case, the women should actually probably get paid more.
Yeah. One team is a little bit more accomplished than the other.
Yes.
Recent
Easily.
And speaking of teams that are doing better than others, let's get a quick fantasy football update sponsored by our friends at Poach. Chad, you lost your number one spot, but it is only week 2.
I told you it's only downhill.
The current number one, Pete, don't call me douchey Suchi, is now number one. Miss Q kicked my ass last week and is in the number 2 spot. Chad, you're number 3, still respectable.
I've got bronze. I'm good.
You got that bronze medal.
I'm good.
We got Breaking Benjamin's Kuntz following you. We got Chris got Gamecocks. After that, Christy, don't call me Jackie Moon follows him. Chris, what do you mean I can't draft Derek Jeter Russell? Is out of the bottom spot. He's happy about that. I guess he whipped your ass.
He beat me, yeah. Week. Well, it happens. It happens.
Bill Football Fanning is next. And I am near the caboose, but not quite at the bottom. The bottom is awarded to Jason Voorhees Putnam this week.
Wow.
So that's your fantasy football update. Sorry to the international listeners who watch an entirely different football, but we're Americans, damn it.
I've been watching that football the entire time I've been here, and it's glorious. My last shout out goes to 4 new podcasts who joined the Evergreen Podcast Network and the HR channel. The Recruitment Flex, Inclusive as Fuck, or Inclusive AF. The Hiring Partner Perspective, and last but never least, Talent Rebelcast. You can check all those out at evergreenpodcast.com. And we've got some cool shit coming your way very soon.
Very nice. That's a good lineup. In addition to the firing squad I mentioned, we also released this week the latest European episode, which featured our friend out of Sweden, Elin, and the recruiting robot. If you haven't listened to that, please check it out.
Elin took a bashing because there were a lot of Sweden stories that she had to defend. So, she did a great job, and it was great to have her on. But it was not a great week for Sweden on Chad and Cheese.
That is true. She carried the load for them, so to speak, this week. Birthdays, we got Jim Lowe, listener of the show, Randall Emery, Eli Karstens, Betsy Norris, Ava Zills, our favorite storyteller on social, Kevin Planton, longtime ERE employee who's, I don't know what he's doing now, but he's a friend of the show, Kelly Robinson, we both know and love, Katrina Kibben, my stepmom, Glenda Cheeseman, celebrates a birthday this week. Gotta give her an applause. And industry icon John Sumser closes out our birthdays of the week. And with that, topics! Adzuna,
hello,
Chad and Cheese sponsor, and UK-based job aggregator Adzuna is planning to list on the London Stock Exchange with a valuation of up to £100 million. That's around $137 million in the US. Mm-hmm. This is according to a report from British newspaper The Telegraph. Pretty reputable. Adzuna was founded by our friends Andrew Hunter and Doug Monroe, who still run the show, by the way, back in 2005. They operate in 16 separate countries and connect with hundreds of job sites to list around 12 million jobs each month. Oh, and they give you guys free beer every month, you lucky bastards. So, Chad, is your Robinhood account about to blow up with some British stocks?
I'd like to say probably not yet. I've also got to give some credit to the AIM group for this story as well, where I found an awesome quote. So here's the quote. Adzuna has worked as a partner with the UK government on its Find a Job online job board, which played a vital role during the pandemic, and with the Office for National Statistics, ONS, on labor market data used to track vacancies and to monitor the impact of the pandemic on the UK economy. So these types of moves, not only are they in 16 countries, but they're providing, market labor data, which is exactly what we've seen Indeed do over the years. So I love seeing what they're doing. Instead of saying a buy or sell on this, I would like to ask you, Joel, would you rather buy Zip or Adzuna, and why?
Oh, well, one has a much bigger valuation. And one is on the, the NYSE or NASDAQ, and one I'm not even sure I can get to with my Robinhood account. But anyway, probably, man, you're going to put this on me. I probably got to go Zip just from a brand recognition play from that. But I think, to me, the keyword here is timing. 10 million job openings in the U.S., as well as many millions more across the globe, which Adzuna is targeting. You mentioned Zip. Their IPO was obviously not a epic failure. It's going to lead to more and more of these IPOs, which, by the way, we're talking about on the show, a few of them. Adzuna has been growing globally. They opened up an office here in the U.S. a couple years back. They're leveraging our show to get sort of brand awareness in the States. And also, back in 2015, they had a crowdfunding effort that raised $2 million from 500 investors, giving up about 8% of the business. So some sort of liquidity event was bound to happen at some point, which I think is largely in response to this initial public offering. 2005, this is one of the quiet success stories in our industry. These guys both came from Gumtree, a pretty successful company back in the day. So I'm going to watch this carefully, and I think we have Doug hopefully scheduled to be on the European podcast. We can kind of dig into this a little more here in the future. But Adzuna, congrats. Sponsor the show. We're glad to see that success.
Yeah, I think Adzuna is, they're already more of a global player than Zip is out of the gate. And Zip needs to be more global. Adzuna also has become a global player over the years without spending millions in commercial advertising. And we've talked about brand atrophy before, right? So instead of growing something organically like Adzuna has, you can do something artificially like Zip has. And much like much like Indeed. And I mean, they've actually spent a lot of money. Now, Indeed did grow organically first, but then they started just throwing a lot of cash at it. So I think overall, who has the best foothold right now? I think it's Adzuna. I mean, I think Zip is a great organization, but I think from a growth standpoint, looking at what Adzuna has been doing and how they've rolled out, it's been more organic. And I think they've got more of a long-term play, unless Zip starts buying footprint in other countries, then they start leapfrogging and they start winning.
I think you've been in Europe too long. You're starting to sound like a European cheerleader. I love it. All right. Who'd you rather is split on that one. Let's get to Sterling. Background check company Sterling Check is launching its IPO today as we record this show, Chad. So we got to maybe check on that at the end if they have actually gone public, which they probably haven't. At that point, it plans to list on the NASDAQ under the symbol STER. The NYC-based company plans to raise $300 million from the sale of 14.3 million shares of its common stock at a price range of $20 to $22. For the 12 months ended June 30th, the firm's platform booked $545 million in revenue and conducted more than 75 million searches for more than 40,000 clients.
Yeah.
Assuming a successful IPO at the midpoint of the proposed price range, the company's enterprise value at IPO would be approximately $2.4 billion. Chad, are you buying this one?
Yeah, we've talked about this on several podcasts. There is money in helping people scale and doing the boring shit. And Sterling does the boring shit. It's background checks, right? And they help scale background checks, which is scaling boring shit. Nobody wants to do the boring shit. So yes, definitely Sterling is something I would buy because it's going to continue to happen. We're going to need background checks and at probably a much higher clip than what we have over the years just because of all the hiring that needs to happen.
Yeah. So we talked about Checker a few weeks ago or last week. So Checker is funded to the tune of a $4.6 billion valuation, which makes it more valuable than Sterling, which I say poppycock. English slang is lacking. So Sterling actually bought the background check company that I worked for back in 2015. They also laid me off about 6 months later.
Ooh,
so take that for what it's worth. But I know a little bit about these guys. And they're freaking huge, huge company. If you believe that brand awareness has value and brands have immense value, I mean, these guys really are the apex predator in the background check business. And I know we talk a lot about Checker and how sexy that is, but once you get a background check company that you're happy with, like it's hard to leave.
Oh yeah.
And people like these sort of trusted names. They're not going anywhere. The market in the background check business is estimated to be $4.2 billion as of 2020 and is forecast to reach $6.4 billion by 2028. And Sterling is going to get a big chunk of that. So I agree with you. Like, I don't talk about buying shares of stock on this show very often, but if you're looking for something that's probably going to be pretty stable for the future, something that's probably going to pay some dividends at some point, like Sterling is in a really good position to be a pretty solid public company. So that one is pretty interesting and should lay the groundwork for Checker to join the public markets at some point in the future, which we will undeniably talk about on this show.
Yes, of course.
So let's talk about Freshworks, our last sort of IPO player, and they actually have gone public. So Freshworks, whose software competes with Salesforce and others like Zendesk, it helps companies manage hiring, onboarding, time off, employee data, and HR workflows in one place. Went public earlier this week and saw shares spike 32% at the opening of their NASDAQ debut on Wednesday. They trade under the ticker symbol FRSH. That's so fresh, isn't it? Freshworks was founded in India and moved to Silicon Valley to be closer to its 52,000 customers. Chad, is this one a buy for you?
This is a buy because it feels like a Google shadow company, to be quite frank. Google has a lot of money in it. They obviously see, somewhat of a nemesis in Salesforce. So they're using Freshworks as a sale or as a thorn in Salesforce's side, or they're just running this as a shadow company. I'm not really sure that Google will buy them. just because of there's so much antitrust shit that's going on right now. But this feels like a Google shadow company. They moved to Silicon Valley because that was where all their customers were. Bullshit. That's where your fucking that's where your major fucking funder was.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot over the years about how these big platforms that sort of tag on an HR component because they have existing relationships for sales and whatever will make a dent in services that are more focused. And it doesn't seem to happen in most cases. Vendors are integrating with Greenhouse and JobBite, not so much the likes of Salesforce or Zendesk. That said, they'll still take a big chunk of business just for convenience sake. If you're running my sales operation and my everything else, why not HR? And I think there's something also be said. You mentioned the move to Silicon Valley, but this is really, to me, an Indian success story. And I think it's a theme that we'll be talking about for the next 10 years as China becomes a political rival, hopefully not a military rival. We're going to empower and push more capital into the world's largest democracy. They still have a huge workforce in India. I think if this was buy or sell, it's certainly something I'd look at. Being a Salesforce competitor is not necessarily the best place you want to be right now. But if with Google's backing, it certainly is a company worth watching.
Yes, it is.
And speaking of companies worth watching, one that we watch on the fucking show every week is LinkedIn.
What the hell,
so you mentioned AIM Group on a previous story, and they were hot on this one as well.
Yeah, you got to subscribe to those guys if you haven't.
Yeah, for sure. It's well worth the money. They're probably the best global research on all things classified in the world, and I mean that. They don't give us any money whatsoever, although they do give us a complimentary subscription. So we'll disclose that. Anyway, LinkedIn has quietly gone live with a new gigs feature called Services Marketplace, accessed from a grid button that opens, quote, more LinkedIn services on the site's navigation bar. The feature showcases LinkedIn members who provide freelance services and who have indicated on their profile that they are, quote, open for business. The marketplace focuses on 16 categories of white-collar work, from accounting to writing. There are plenty of pros available because it's an extension and rebranding of a pre-existing platform called LinkedIn Pro Finder, which we've also talked about on the show. It's early days, but LinkedIn is obviously going after gig platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. Thoughts, Chad?
Yeah, I love the idea, and it makes sense as Fiverr and Upwork revenues and valuations have skyrocketed during the pandemic. But, and you knew there was a but coming, LinkedIn has to get their technical house in order before launching new shit. It would be great if LinkedIn upgraded their old dusty ass tech. Like, making sure that matching actually works in their system, jobs against your profile, rather than coming up with features that are supported by aforementioned dusty ass tech and then sunset months later like stories. To me, I don't mind the throwing shit at the wall, but when you're doing it on a not so solid foundation, it just doesn't make sense. Get your house in order, get your tech tight, get smarter around your data, and then start to put these things out. The problem is, I see this going away, unfortunately. I think it's a great idea, though.
Chad's not a fan. All right. Yeah, LinkedIn's track record on this kind of stuff really sucks. Remember its ATS?
No.
No one does. Is it even still around? I don't know. You mentioned stories getting killed. Its live video and events product is pretty average at best. It does, however, have almost 1 billion users.
Yep.
So there are buyers there. And they also have pricing power, which means they can pay freelancers more of a percentage of profits, and they can charge buyers less if they want to. And people will move where money is and where money can be saved. It doesn't carry fees at this point, although it certainly will at some point. LinkedIn reportedly intends to implement fees along with a payments tool in the future. And I also am curious about GitHub's integration potentially with something like this. GitHub, which Microsoft also owns, could value greatly from GitHub professionals in the tech space getting into this platform, which Upwork and Fiverr currently kind of have a stronghold on. So if they can adequately integrate some of the GitHub folks into this platform, I think it has a chance.
Yeah, I think GitHub folks are about as anti-LinkedIn as they come. That's oil and water. So I don't see that happening at all. If GitHub wanted to do that separately, I think they have a better chance. And it's smart. Again, I think this idea is incredibly smart. But when you're building on shaky ground, it just makes no sense.
The only thing GitHub users love more than they hate LinkedIn is money. So if they can make some money off of this, they'll do it. And speaking of money, let's take a quick break so we can pay some bills. And when we get back, we'll do a little of your favorite buy or sell.
Job advertising is pretty simple, right? Write a good ad. Find the right channel. Run tests, research others, translate data, optimize. Okay, maybe it's not that simple, but there is something that helps bring it all together and puts it in autopilot for you. That is programmatic job advertising with Job Ad X. Job Ad X gathers hundreds of channels and their job seeker audiences into one place so that your ads reach far and wide without having to create a ton of new accounts. Create ad campaigns with no minimum spend that are results-focused and based on engagement from candidates. Have full control of your job ads using the Job Ad X self-serve platform. Welcome to Uncomplicated Job Ads. Find out how you can start attracting and engaging candidates with your ads in 3 steps at jobadx.com/get started today. That's jobadx.com/get-started-today.
Money, 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 money! Money!
All right, Chad, we got a bunch of freaking companies to buy or sell. So we're going to do a little rapid fire
Let's do this.
buy or sell. All right, let's get to Clovers. Danny Clovers. Oh, that's the wrong Clovers. Danny Glover's. Anyway,
yes.
Clovers.ai, a video interviewing platform, has raised $15 million in seed funding. The tech integrates with a number of ATSs as well as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and the like. The company said funding will be used toward product development, talent acquisition, and marketing. It looks like they're staying away from automation, like the ones you see in solutions like Vervo and Paradox, and will be taking on the likes of HireVue, VidRecruiter, Willow, and Spark Hire. Chad, buy or sell?
Yeah, this type of tech is popping up all over the place, but I believe the difference in whether a startup like this sinks or swims comes down to experience and discipline. Clover's CEO has experience from HireVue and Cornerstone on Demand, and has held CRO roles prior. So, sales is going to be a major driver. Plus, the SVP of sales and VP of design are both from Cornerstone on Demand. So I like the experience, the connections, and those connections to cash. So for me, this is a buy.
Yeah, the founders are interesting. In addition to your commentary, the CEO of Comparably is in there, as well as the former founder, I think, of Cornerstone on Demand as well. So I like the jockeys that are on this horse. The pandemic has made video more important and probably is not going away. So companies are going to be looking for options on the video front that maybe they weren't before. You're going to see people who hate HireVue, and there are quite a few who are looking for new options. And Clovers is going to gobble up a lot of those people are looking for shiny new options.
It's going to be cheaper than HireVue too.
Yeah, I mean, pricing comes in there as well. I think they have to get the global piece right, which I think they eventually will. They really play up diversity, and I'm still not convinced how video interviewing can be a diversity play, but everyone is diversity. All those things said, I like the jockey. I like the wave that they're surfing. I will buy Clovers as well. Well, let's get to Nomad Health, a platform that matches travel nurses with healthcare facilities. They announced a $63 million round of funding. This brings total funding raised at the New York-based firm to more than $100 million. The company said the funding round comes amid growth during the COVID-19 pandemic. No shit. Revenue at Nomad this year to date has already more than doubled full year 2020 revenue. It also reported the number of transactions in its marketplace has grown sevenfold since the start of the pandemic in February 2020. Chad, buy or sell Nomad Health?
So finding nurses, especially during and after a pandemic, that's fucking hard. So Nomad Health is incredibly focused on nurses and clinicians, and have now over $100 million in funding with their approach of helping clinicians find more rewarding jobs all over the country. To me, we've talked about Nomad before. They just received funding, I believe it was earlier this year. This is a buy all day. Niche, discipline, right in my area.
Yep. A little side note, you mentioned some of the team there at Clover's. Nomad also recently hired Jeff Simon as their VP of product. Jeff comes from Indeed, where he served as head of product. So I think some good products might be coming to Nomad here in the future. Total no-brainer. The pandemic has taught us that we need nurses and we need flexibility when it comes to nurse staffing.
Yep.
Baby boomers aren't getting any younger, and COVID apparently isn't going away. Thanks, Red States. This looks like the apex predator among gig platforms, if you will, for nursing. A super strong buy from me on Nomad Health.
Too easy.
Let's get to Apna, and we got a unicorn alert. Apna, Bengaluru, India-based company that provides an app to enable workers to connect with jobs.
Say that again. What is it?
Bengaluru, India. Okay. Is that what you wanted me to repeat? Okay.
Yes.
All right. They announced a $100 million Series C round this week. The funding round values the company at $1.1 billion US.
Hello.
The company is still in diapers at 22 months old and is focused on blue and gray collar workers in India, helping them learn new skills and land jobs. The company claims to be India's leading professional app and was valued at just $570 million in a Series B funding round in just June. Buy or sell, Chad?
A motherfucking Indian rocket ship, baby. So here are the Apna ingredients to success. High unemployment levels in India, a mobile-driven society, and a population of 1.3 billion. So Apna is taking the app-based talent platform and making it fucking rain. This, to me, baby, get out your credit card. Buy.
Yep. Indian cities are home to hundreds of millions of low-skilled workers who hail from villages in search of work. Many of them have lost their jobs because of the pandemic, and they're going to cities to look for work. And Apna is perfectly positioned to take advantage of this. Billions are going to be made in India. Check out Freshworks. Smartphone penetration has finally arrived in India, which means the timing is perfect for this company. Jesus, another strong buy from me.
I know. This is like we're going on a goddamn shopping spree here.
Yeah. Too bad it's our money. Work now. Or is it work now? It's
work.
WURK now. Or maybe it's no. Anyway, Riverside, California-based Work Now, a recruitment and people management site for hourly workers, has raised $10 million in a Series A. Founded in 2017, the startup lets recruiters post jobs over multiple channels, attracts job seekers using video and social media, tags and pulls applicants by skills, ratings, and geolocation, parses resumes for client review, and matches applicants using, you guessed it, AI. More than 125,000 active hourly workers are currently using the platform. Chad, buy or sell?
Love the hourly space, but hate the SMB focus on this one. This is a sell.
I can't help but hate this space like you always have. Cheap clients, going out of business constantly, still putting out help wanted signs and posting on Craigslist. Staffing agencies are fickle. Platforms are a tough business if you don't have the dollars, and 10 million really isn't going to cut it. I'm selling work now. All right, cross check. Or is that cross chick? It's CROSSCHQ. The Danville, California-based Crosscheck has closed a $30 million Series A.
Hello.
Founded in 2018, not cheap. Founded in 2018, Crosscheck provides pre-hire candidate assessment and reference check services. It also runs a candidate referral network. Its customers include Upwork, Glassdoor, and Slack. Chad, buy or sell?
I hate the fucking name just from the standpoint of spelling. I mean, come on. If you're gonna pick a name, pick something that somebody can spell. Or anyway, it doesn't matter when you're talking about, again, boring ass tasks and taking them off your client's back. They're going to use the money with this to boost employees. They only have 18 employees right now to 50.
Yep.
And they're going to focus on go-to-market marketing and sales. So from my standpoint, again, if it's about scale, if it's about taking boring ass shit off of your employees and you can scale that at the same time, it's a buy. I mean, this one was hard for me. They fit the criteria.
Yeah. All right. 30 million is not chump change.
No.
They're doing something right. They have good investors. They have some great partnerships. Good integration strategy in terms of a ton of ATSs. They have good clients. I'm going to go ahead and buy CrossFit. I mean, Crosscheck. And that is the end of rapid fire buy or sell. Let's take a quick break and collect ourselves.
JobVite, the leading end-to-end talent acquisition suite.
Named a leader in ATS, recruitment marketing, CRM, and onboarding on G2.
Kim B says JobVite is a user-friendly, passionate enterprise team that takes care of you. Jolly good.
Jeffrey R says, candidates are constantly telling us we get it right compared to other orgs. Love that.
Results driven by AI.
Connections built by humans. JobVite. Learn how you can evolve your TA function at jobvite.com.
All right, Chad.
Gen Z, baby.
As far as employee resignations go, one Walmart's employee's decision to quit over the store's loudspeaker is certainly quality. And one of the wildest we've seen. Beth McGrath from Louisiana posted a video to her Facebook profile on Tuesday in which she can be seen in her black uniform taking a deep breath before speaking to everyone in the store over the PA system. She said, quote, "Attention Walmart shoppers and associates." I'm glad that she started out as an official announcement.
Yes.
"My name is Beth in electronics. I've been working at Walmart for almost 5 years, and I can say that everyone here is overworked and underpaid. We are treated by management and customers poorly every day. Whenever we have a problem with it, we're told that we're replaceable. I'm tired of the constant gaslighting. This company treats their elderly associates like shit." She went on to pummel management and ended the rant with, quote, "Fuck management and fuck this job. I quit." Beth, awesome.
There you go. When did Take This Job and Shove It come out? Was it late 70s, early 80s? I can't remember.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working.
Gotta be 70s.
Yeah. So this to me is the Gen Z take this job and shove it. And I love now that there's more transparency where you can see these types of things happen, because that's going to embolden other employees who are getting fucked and are being treated like shit. And she also said something about her manager being a pervert, I think. Anyway, this is about treating your employees right, paying them right, and having more of a transparent society, even with wages, right? Mm-hmm. So to me, I love this shit. And Beth from electronics, we got to get her on.
Jeez. All right, let's take a step back here for a second. If my kid did this, I would lose my shit, because once you do something like this, your options for career advancement are a little bit more limited than they were before you decided to do this. I know it's a nice rally, it's a nice, like, good on you, way to stick it to the man. But Beth McGrath now is eternally on the web. She is forever going to be searchable by future employers, and she's going to miss out on opportunities that she wouldn't have otherwise. So I'm glad for her that she got this out. I'm sure that her social media shit blew up. I'm sure traffic to the platforms went insane. I'm surprised that a young person did this on Facebook as opposed to something more hip. But yeah, it's fun to talk about on a show. But for her probably not the best move in terms of her career.
Yeah, this is not 1989, Joel, when you had that job at Mr. Hero or some shit like that. This is an entirely new way of looking at jobs. And there are actually people that are out there today, I guarantee you're like, that's the kind of girl I want. She didn't just stick up for herself. She stuck up for other people, right? That's who you want. That's a leadership quality. So yeah, for an old white man, of course you don't want somebody like that. But there are plenty of people who want that kind of moxie, and they want that kind of care for their community to work for them.
That's an interesting take. I'll also add that talked extensively about employees sort of ranting on other social platforms. I mean, this is a real issue for employers, and I think that they're totally sort of blind, or they've got their head in the sand about this being an issue. But social media and technology are presenting a whole new level of employee feedback that people are. I mean, most companies are still trying to get their head around Glassdoor profiles, right? The world is the world is so much beyond. I'm going to sit down and write. I have time to write a negative thing about my employee or employer. This is way more fun, right? Put it on fucking TikTok and get likes and get shared and get picked up in some, media publication. That's where reviews and feedback is going. And I think companies by and large are unprepared for that. And if anything that they get from this story and the others that we've talked about is geez, we really got to get our head around our employees and what they're saying about us.
It's a brand new world, kids. And if you don't get your head around it, this kind of shit's going to happen. And guess what? We're going to talk about it.
As long as we never hear something about like this happening at Chipotle.
Oh my God, I love Chipotle. Chipotle is my life.
Chad, what is this, your last week in paradise?
Yes, I'll be back in the saddle again on U.S. soil, and I'll be a hell of a lot tanner than I was when I left.
Oh, hell no.
Also, I'll be at HR Tech next week. If you're still listening to the show, if you're out there in Vegas, hit me up. We'll be doing some stuff. Come by and say hi. So next week's show could be interesting. I'm on the road, and you're sort of coming home. So we'll figure something out.
We'll make it work.
And with that,
we out.
Thank you for listening to... what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper Jack. Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!
Everything is changing fast in talent acquisition. And keeping yourself up to date with the latest thinking, technology, and best practice is a challenge in itself. I'm Matt Alder, host of the Recruiting Future podcast, the show that gives you weekly insights, inspiring stories, and cutting-edge thinking from practitioners who are at the front line of talent acquisition. Recruiting Future is available wherever you listen to your podcasts.